From South Carolina Public Radio, this is the South Carolina Lede. I'm your host, Gavin Jackson, and this episode was recorded on April 13th, 2026 from South Carolina Public Radio studios here in Columbia. Yes, this is my in-studio voice, not my
at-home voice
or my
Twisk voice, guys.
So, welcome back. On this episode of The Lede, we look at the Senate Finance Committee's version of the budget and hear from the state's chief economist on how healthy revenues are. They're good. There was a major groundbreaking for the I-95 bridge over Lake Marion. Mega groundbreaking. We hear from SCDOT Secretary Justin Powell and Senator Lindsey Graham, who has one fewer challengers in his primary race. Congressman Jim Clyburn told Reverend Al Sharpton what he's looking for in a 2028 candidate to endorse. And we have a 2028 watch.
2028 watch.
With Rahm Emanuel recently visiting the state, and now former Vice President Kamala Harris is in town. Also, check out the State House gavel as we sprint towards Sine Die on May 14th.
No way.
Yes, 5 weeks.
That's great.
That's at SCETV.org/thegavel, where Tuesday through Friday, Maya Schechter and myself bring you recaps, previews, big and small State House moments, meeting schedule highlights, photos, videos, and more. Emphasis on the more. We got some of it in this podcast. We also want to have some of you in this podcast, 803-563-7169. I'm told that there are some calls for the wind down section. What a wonderful gift for us as we celebrate episode 701, folks. That's right. 700 was over break. We're going to pretend like this is episode 700. We are in new territory. Thank you for joining us on our journey into the 700s. 803-563-7169. What was your favorite episode of the 700 one we've had? Tell us which number it was. We'll go back and cross-reference it. 803-563-7169. All right, let's look at what's on tap this week at the State House. Both chambers are back. There are a lot of meetings as we are in crossover week right now. Even though we don't celebrate crossover anymore, we will have a recap for you in Saturday's episode where if a bill doesn't make it out of one chamber to the next chamber, it's probably not going to make it to the governor's desk this year, especially at the end of the 2-year session. So we don't celebrate it anymore. They don't observe it anymore, but we do on this podcast. So we'll keep you informed about what's moving as we have about 15 more working days left until Sine Die. All right, let's look at the State House, where the Senate Finance Committee last week approved its $15.2 billion budget while the House was on furlough and the Senate was in perfunctory session, which meant that there was no floor work, but there was committee work, including, like we said, the Finance Committee, which is comprised of half of the Senate, which is 23 members. Now, while I was off last week, budget guru Maya Schechter was covering those meetings as the Senate worked through what the House gave them, which was a $15.4 billion plan, and changed it to a $15.2 billion plan. So you're saying what's changed, what's stayed the same? Let's start off with what stayed the same. Teachers, that's right. We'll see starting salaries bumped to $50,500 for teachers. That is something that we've seen the governor propose as well as the House, and now here the Senate is doing the same. State employees will see a 2% bump and have their health insurance increases covered as well. The income tax cut is also in the Senate budget with a 5.21% cut from that 6%. That comes at a cost of $310 million a year. Looking at private school vouchers, we will see an additional $23 million for the next phase of the voucher rollout, and there's $175 million for MUSC's Cancer Hospital, as well as $34 million for SNAP benefits due to federal funding reductions. So those are the similarities between the House and the Senate budget.
Same.
Differences, big differences. The Senate added $247 million for the homestead exemption expansion. Remember that bill that the Senate passed that the House has not moved on? We'll see that in a conference committee. Also, on the roads, there are differences on how to spend millions of dollars on bridge and road projects. Paging Justin Powell. We'll have more about that in a moment. And Captain Sam Spit. The House put $32 million in for that Kiowa Island development litigation settlement after years of legal wrangling. Not so much in the Senate finance version. We'll see how that shakes out. But I will say that settlement amount has already been approved by the Joint Bond Review Committee as well as the State Fiscal Accountability Authority. So we don't see it changing there. So you're going to have to pay it somehow. TBD. So the differences. Of course, there's a lot more in this $15 billion budget, but those are some of the major points as we head toward a new fiscal year on July 1st. How will you be celebrating? We'll find out. But you may be saying, Gavin, how are things looking? And be honest, as if I'm not being honest. You think I'm lying? Like, I low-key despise that phrase. Also, if your friend says, to be honest, were you not being honest before? Talk to your friends about this. Stop using that phrase. Anyway, that was a tangent. I have a friend that really uses a lot, Kate Park. Anyway, I'm not lying. But I say all that to say, here's a presentation from Revenue and Fiscal Affairs Director Frank Rainwater to the Senate Finance Committee about where things stand right now with the outlook for our state when it comes to budget revenues. That's growth from sales tax, from income tax, from corporate taxes, everything that feeds into the money that generates the budget, the coffers, if you will.
It's not consistent growth among all the counties. We have some counties that are growing very well and some counties that are losing population. And without some type of intervening force, where counties are going to continue to lose population growth. We've identified those for you in this graph. Those in the darker blue are the faster growing areas, and those in the darker gold or bronze there, they are the declining areas. The coastal area continues to do well. I think it was noted that Jasper County was probably one of the fastest growing counties in the nation in terms of population, but all counties are not experiencing that same situation. We have counties that are challenged. It will be interesting, and I will note, we do these projections based on statistics and recent trends, but Fairfield County we know may be a declining county, but just for transparency, we have not seen the impact of the Scout plant yet. Maybe that will change some of those surrounding counties that are close to that. But overall, South Carolina is growing well, but not all the counties are doing as well.
Now, there has been a decrease of over $1 billion going into the general fund over the years due to tax cuts. You got to offset the cuts with the money that comes in. That's what we just talked about, that $310 million to offset the income tax reduction from 6% to 5.21%. This is what it looks like at the end of the day. But Frank says that can be done because there is an increase of money coming in. Those recurring revenues, when you have recurring money, that's revenues that grows, that comes every year. You can bank on it. You can make those cuts. And here's some more insight there. And I'm sorry, Frank is also talking about a graph that he has displayed that you can't see.
In fiscal 22, our income tax revenue was almost $7 billion in the gray bar. And you can see the gray bar after that time at the top of the gray column has been below that. What the blue on top of that represents the amount of tax you have cut out of that growth, out of that revenue stream. So you have cut, as of fiscal 26, our estimate, $1.28 billion out of the income tax stream based on the tax cut packages you did in 2022. And income now is below the amount that we had in 4 years ago in fiscal 22. So as part of that revenue growth, you're able to implement tax cuts, significant amount of money here.
Now, Rainwater also showed that of the additional recurring dollars, 65% of it in the last 4 fiscal years have gone to 8 areas primarily. That includes aid to classrooms or teacher pay, Medicaid costs, the state health plan, state employee pay, public college and university tuition mitigation, capital reserves, DOT match funding with the feds, and school vouchers. So just to give you an idea about where the priorities are when it comes to budgeting and spending your tax dollars. But here's Rainwater talking about personal growth. No, not personal growth, guys, though you need it. Personal income tax growth and our state's strong labor market.
For most of these time periods here, income growth in South Carolina has been faster than the nation. Again, with better population, more people moving to this state for retirees or for work opportunities, our income is growing faster. We're doing better than the nation, and we've been doing so for a long period of time. But as you can see, those trends there on the far right, in the gray line, the national income growth is starting to slow below average. Our average growth has been about 4.5%. You see, in the past few years, we've been above that. But we're starting to slow down. We're still expected to be above the national average, but we're in a slow part of our cycle coming up. We think our income growth is going to fall from the above average trends to the below average trends here for the next fiscal year, but we're hoping that will improve after that. But it's just part of the cycles. We have ups and downs in all parts of the economy from time to time. And when you get to an average, that means some years are going to be above and some years are going to be below. But we're still growing, and we're growing faster than the nation. Just extraordinary growth in our workforce out here. But that has slowed down to more of a historical average. We had a peak last year in 2025, but recent data show we're only growing about 1.3%. Now, we're waiting on the revised figures, but based on projections and what's going on in the world today, we think we're going to slow down till the rest of this fiscal year before we start improving. But it's still growth. It's just lower growth, but it's still growth out there.
Now, the prediction going forward is still steady growth, but expect more normal budget years going forward with smaller surpluses, not the craziness that we've been seeing over the past few years. But let's keep with state government and talk about infrastructure. There is a groundbreaking for the project to replace the I-95 bridge over Lake Marion last week, and I hate that I was not there along with many other dignitaries, including Governor Henry McMaster, Senator Lindsey Graham, 6th District Congressman Jim Clyburn, and SCDOT Secretary Justin Powell. All key players in helping get federal support to the tune of $175 million for this mega project.
Mega.
Here's Secretary Powell.
This groundbreaking demonstrates our ability to build large-scale, transformative projects that deliver results for South Carolina. It reflects years of coordination, engineering, and a dedication to getting it right. This project, though, would not be possible without the leaders who recognized its importance early on and helped move it forward. Thank you to our General Assembly who have helped position this project to compete for and secure critical federal grant funding.
Now, the current bridge is nearly 60 years old, which looks, you look great for 60, baby. Considering about 40,000 cars and trucks travel it per day for work and travel, and it's also used when it comes to hurricane evacuations. So very important piece of infrastructure over that body of water right there. Now, SCDOT continues to make bridge replacements, especially critical bridges like this one, a priority. Also, another dignitary that was there was the Federal Highway Administration Administrator, Sean McMaster, no relation to Governor McMaster, who also spoke. And of course, the governor had a bit of a joke.
Somebody said the magic words a little while ago, cooperation or something like that, or talking, communication. And you may have heard the story about the young couple. They bumped into each other somewhere, and it was just a thunderbolt. Fell in love right then. Didn't talk much, said, let's get married. I love you too, let's get married. Had a very short ceremony because they didn't talk too much. Find a little house. You like that house? I like that house. Let's buy that house. They bought the house and moved in. Well, a couple of weeks later, the young groom was standing out in the front and looked at me. Here came old mama-in-law coming up the sidewalk, huffing and puffing like a steam engine, carrying a luggage. Walked right by him, went through the door, went upstairs, went in the bedroom, shut the door. Boy was sitting there and said, gosh. Well, that stayed. About 2 weeks later, he goes to his wife and says, baby, don't you think it's about time we find your mama someplace else to stay? She said, my mama, I thought she was your mama. That's what happens when you don't talk to each other. Well, we've been talking to each other a lot. And those two men on the end, Jim Clyburn and Lindsey Graham, we've been involved in more things back in the Biden administration and this one too.
Communication, collaboration, cooperation, that and humor help make up a good bit of McMaster's legacy. That's what Senator Lindsey Graham said.
All I can say about this bridge, Jim's a big fan of this bridge. I hadn't been there that much, but I learned a lot about this bridge. It was worth $350 million for you not to talk to me about the bridge anymore. So, best money we ever spent. So Congressman Clyburn is not only been part of history, he's made history. And if you ask Jim, what can I do to help you, he will take you up on it. Big, long list. But the bridge was at the top of the list. And when he said, we're going to run water pipes across the bridge. And I said, why not? I didn't know why, but now I do. Made sense. And as to our governor, I'm going to miss you because you're funny. And I don't hang around a lot of fun people in my day job. But Henry tries to get to yes. He tries to bring out the best in who we are. He's always trying to work with people instead of talking down to them. As to this bridge, the more you know about the old bridge, the more you want the new bridge. So I don't know how much longer the old bridge has got in it. But this thing has served our state well. These counties around here, they need everything they can get and then some.
Now, work on the $430 million mega project is set to be complete by late 2030. Not too bad if you think about it. Keeping with Graham and segueing into the campaign trail for a minute. One of Graham's challengers, Paul Dans, who helped author the Heritage Foundation's Project 2025, dropped out of the race. With just 2 months to go till the primary, why not run through the tape and see where you end up? Dans raised around $670,000 and had already paid the $10,400 filing fee to get on the ballot. Hey, I'm not a campaign strategist, whatever. Now, there are 5 other Republicans seeking the nomination, with Dans endorsing firebrand Mark Lynch on the way out. President Donald Trump endorsed Graham early last year, along with a slew of other well-known officials in the state also endorsing Graham. Well, Trump called Lynch a, quote, lunatic, and said in part that, quote, I don't have to go into great detail, but needless to say, Mark Lynch would be a disaster, all caps, for the Republican Party, and Lindsey Graham just gets the job done, all caps. That was part of a social media post there from President Trump supporting Senator Graham. There are 57 days left until the June 9th primary, folks.
2028. Watch.
All right, well, let's keep with the congressional delegation, talking about Congressman Jim Clyburn, who was in Newark on Friday for a fireside chat on civil rights with Reverend Al Sharpton at the National Action Network Conference. That's Sharpton's group there. And a lot of heavy hitters were also there at this event over several days in New York, including former Vice President Kamala Harris, former U.S. DOT Secretary Pete Buttigieg, and many other potential 2028 candidates.
2028. Watch.
Potential candidates. Wink, wink, nod, nod. Quack, quack. Now, Sharpton spoke with Clyburn about his background and getting involved in the civil rights movement, and then they also moved into the power of the South Carolina Democratic presidential primary, which we know Clyburn is a big player in, which of course is why he's running for re-election again, guys. Everyone's saying, oh, is Clyburn going to run for another term? Why wouldn't he? Like, he gets to be the kingmaker again, guys. Come on. Make it a nice, even 18 terms. You know? That's what they say. To that vein, Sharpton asked Clyburn about what he's looking for and who he maybe will endorse in that wide-open primary in 2028. Here's what Clyburn said.
I want to see the candidate that comes forward here in 2026 to help us fight off what I know to be the efforts to make sure that the voting rights that we now enjoy, to make sure that the turnout that's going to be necessary this year takes place. Because if the SAVE Act becomes law, those 61 or 2 Congressional Black Caucus members we now have will be down to 30 within 2 years, and another half of that in the next 2 years. Why I know that? Because that's what happened the last time they passed laws like the SAVE Act. We lost the ability to cast our votes. They didn't call them picture ID. They called them things like how many bubbles are in a bar of soap, how many jelly beans are in that jar. They didn't say, as the secretary said earlier, you can't vote. They just made it near impossible for you to get registered to vote. And that's what is taking place today. And I want to see the candidates focus on 2026. What are we going to do to hold on to that vote? What are we going to do to make health care accessible and affordable? Housing accessible and affordable. Education accessible and affordable. Energy. I want to see our candidates who want to carry the mantle in 2028, come forward now. Lay out your proposals. Let us get attached to your platforms this year so that we can have a successful off-year election. Because if we do not win these off-year elections this year, there ain't going to be no election in 2028.
I just want to mention that when we did go to Clyburn's re-election announcement, I did ask him about 2028, and he told me, like they're all saying, I'm focused on 2026. Speaking of 2028 watch, we just had Rahm Emanuel, the former ambassador to Japan under President Joe Biden, former 2-term mayor of Chicago, and former chief of staff to President Barack Obama, as well as a former three-term congressman. He made a swing through South Carolina on April 2nd as part of the SC Democratic Party's, quote, On the Road series it does with big national Democrats who are just visiting the state. They're just, they're in town. Why wouldn't they want to go to Allendale and Abbeville and Newberry counties, right? That's where I saw Rahm, the latter of which I caught up with him at as he spoke to around 50 Democrats at Genesis Hub, which is a little coffee shop there, a mere block from the Newberry Opera House, where the night before several Republican gubernatorial candidates debated. Yes, I was in Newberry twice in 1 week. It was beautiful. It's a great little town. Not a city quite. Go check it out. Beautiful, great people. Now, Rahm spoke for about 30 minutes, heavily talking on college and tech school education needs, and he also took questions from the crowd. I thought this part on social media was interesting and I wanted to share it with you.
I want to ban TikTok and Instagram from all 16 years old. Okay? I don't want an algorithm raising a child. You all know this. I say this to you as a father. There's 3 doors a kid's going to walk through in their life that's going to be the most important 3 doors of their lives. Front door of the home, front door of the school, and the front door of the place of worship. And if one of those doors are closed, it's going to change a child's life. And you know it and I know it. Number 2, these are tough times. They require somebody really tough to know how to get things done. Every time I've gotten into the arena against the pharmaceutical industry, the banking industry, the insurance industry, the healthcare industry, I'll say it here, the tobacco industry or the gun lobby, they walked out of the arena with a broken nose. And 10 million kids got health care. People with pre-existing conditions got health care. Banks got held accountable. Pharmaceutical companies were held accountable for selling opiates. First city ever, any municipality ever to sue the pharmaceutical industry over opiates, city of Chicago when I was mayor. You couldn't sell a tobacco product within 500 feet of our schools. We raised revenue, and I gave 90,000 kids free eye and dental care. So we're going to have to take a good whack at Washington. We're going to have to give it a 2x4 upside its head.
Later, he gaggled with the press, and I asked him about what Democrats need to do to win the midterms and how to carry momentum into the 2028 race.
Well, one is, look, 2026 is a referendum on the president and a rubber stamp Congress. It is what it is. 2028 is a choice election, and Democrats, which is why I'm laying out ideas about how to invest in community colleges, how to hold social media, big tech companies accountable, how to ensure that you can't play in predictive markets if you're Congress or the Senate. 2028 is going to be a choice. And we have to prove that we can fight for America with the same vigor, same energy as we do fight Donald Trump. And I don't think we as a party has basically comported ourselves that I get why you want to resist Trump. There's a lot to resist, like a war, a bad choice. The corruption that's become normalized. I'm all for that. But where's your plan to make sure our kids can read? Where's your plan to make sure that our kids who go to community college have a ticket to the middle class? Where's your plan to make sure that we now have a standard of ethics where public service has an honorable profession, it's not about private gain? Where's your standards and your policy to ban 16-year-olds from becoming addictive to Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram? So to me, knowing how you're going to fight for a future, and not just anything, I fundamentally believe that the core issue is restoring accessibility and confidence in the American dream to another generation. It has failed. It's on both parties. We didn't get here overnight. We're not going to get here overnight. Get out of it, rather, overnight. It's going to take us a generation. But we got to start working right now, stop digging, and start solving this problem where, as I said in there, you do 2 years of service, public service, national service, you get a down payment on a home, which is the biggest burden today about achieving the American dream. Have real solutions to real problems, and guess what? American people will respond to that. They're desperate for somebody that puts them first rather than your own career first.
And of course, keeping with the 2028 watch, former Vice President Kamala Harris will be in Greenville on Wednesday for a SC Democratic Party reception, which is the night before she will be in Columbia as part of her book tour at the Township Auditorium. So little of this, little of that, 2028, it's on the horizon, folks. Welcome to the wind down section. Our little break from the news. We're glad you're here, along with AT, our lead podcast producer. AT, it's great that we're here. We have a wind down. It's been forever.
It's been a long time. I survived the quarantine of my family.
Yes, we were concerned.
Little baby Rena LBR, she had RSV and then 8 days off and then got COVID.
That's wild.
Everyone but me got COVID in the house.
Strong baby, COVID.
Strong like bull.
RSV, COVID baby.
So you got LBR, little baby Rena, and then you got BBDD, big baby Dom Dom. He got COVID.
I don't know about this.
That's a new one, BBDD.
BBDD?
Yeah, big baby Dom Dom. So it was a lot. It was a whole lot. For the first 3 days of it, we didn't know Dom had COVID.
Yeah.
And so he and I were sequestered in my bedroom, and Rena and Caitlin were out there. And I had 72 uninterrupted hours of watching a 2-month-old and getting no time off from that through the night. And I would say it was 3 of the worst days of my life.
Oh, parenting. It sounds beautiful.
It is when you have a partner that you can switch with, and be like, okay, I'm going to go take a nap,
You're mainlining it.
It was bad. I mean, I was awake every 2 hours,
yeah.
It was bad.
But you didn't get sick too.
No, I never got sick. I got sick of him.
Yeah.
I got sick of him.
Took it to the bank.
I wanted to throw this baby in the garbage. Gavin, one thing I don't want to throw in the garbage is these phone calls, okay? We got some phone calls.
And look at the people.
We're going to do 2 here, okay? Because they're going to be time sensitive.
Oh, okay.
So if you're ready, Gavin, here's the first one.
Yeah, let's hit it off.
Hi, this is Amy in Prosperity. I get the Newberry Observer, and I wanted to shout out the little big town next to Prosperity, Newberry. We had the Republicans' first gubernatorial debate at our Opera House on Wednesday, and Thursday we had Rahm Emanuel meeting with Democrats and independents talking about education options. So thanks for the focus on rural South Carolina. We are out here, and we do have a lot of voters. You guys take care. Thanks.
Thanks for calling, Amy. Yes, I got to spend a wonderful time in
Twice in a
week. Yeah.
Twice in a week.
And,
Newberry's nice. The Opera House
right
gets
there, too.
real shows, too. It's nice.
And it's easier to get to than, I love Greenwood, but oh my gosh, Greenwood's so hard to get to.
It's impossible. Yeah, it's impossible. It's impossible.
But yeah, I spent some time, and I also talked to was it the county administrator who said hi to me? And I was like, hey, good to see you. Did you see my parking spot? I parked right on the square, which I thought was
amazing.
Going to be hard to do for that 400-person debate.
Sure.
I was like, look at this spot. What a great town.
I know. Yeah.
Love you, Newberry.
Non-metered parking downtown. Come on.
Enjoy it while it lasts, folks.
Nothing
Get it while you can.
Finer. Well, shout out to you, Amy. Thank you for calling in. Gavin, we have another call if you're ready.
Yeah,
okay.
Play it.
Here we go.
Hey, guys. This is Andrew, usually from Mount Pleasant, but calling you from the Grenadine Island of Nauru. Having a good time down here on spring break, taking the kids snorkeling and showing them a little bit of a different part of the world, but we still made time for the lead, of course, something to listen to as we were winding down our day. See what I did there?
Yes.
AT family, I hope you all are recovered by the time this might air. If for no other reason than we can hear Gavin's regular voice again. We love you, Gavin. Love your solo voice, but we want the normal one back. Also, pizza takes. Yeah, I like pineapple and ham on pizza. I even like salami and pineapple better. Also, broccoli pizza, fine with it, as long as you dip it in ranch.
Andrew, thank you for calling us remotely on vacation. That sounded wonderful. Love that you were keeping us with you.
Great connection on your sat phone. Yeah.
Yeah, was that a sat phone? That was
sick.
Wild.
Yeah.
Yes, we were definitely laughing during your voicemail because the different voices. It's just hard. I mean, everyone says, I can do a podcast. I could do a podcast. Sure, okay. Try it. Talk to me after 700. It's not about numbers, of course. It's about, you can have quality.
700's a lot.
We are doing quantity and quality, I'll add.
Every episode.
But
the quality of sound effects are going through the roof, folks. Getting
stock.
a lot of feedback on the sound effects.
Some would say too many, but not
Some
me.
would say, but
I haven't heard.
Not
he had the cough. That's the case. It's evolved over the 700 episodes.
Oh, new ones.
But yeah, no doubt. Like I was recording these at like 11:30 the night before I was supposed to get on the train to go up to DC. I didn't sleep. I just said I'm going to keep going. So I'm like I got to knock this out before because I got pinched for time during the workday. Then I had to like pack and do all this stuff. So I did it all.
Imagine how he would have sounded solo on the train, folks.
Oh, I was like, there's no way I can do this on the train. It would have been clacking.
The clickety-clack, choo-choo-choo.
Also, we agree with Andrew's hot takes despite the broccoli, but I think the ranch makes the broccoli better.
There's too much water and pineapple for pizza. It comes out. It gets on your pizza.
So I'm like, oh my God, I could just tell when I was recording, I'm like doing my, it's 11:30 p.m. voice. Like, I have no energy left. I'm just trying to get out of here and like put these out there.
The body's a battery.
I don't have AT in my ear.
Yes, that's the big difference. Yes, talking the whole time he's talking. Yeah.
So like, there are challenges. And let us know your favorite episode. I mean, I can recite all the episodes.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. I would say, I was telling AT, I'm like, I think one of our best episodes is when we went down to Florida, Orlando specifically, to go to a podcast convention.
Yeah.
And your wife, Caitlin, came with us, and we just managed to, we did the Finding Florida Man episode.
Yes.
And a friend of mine was down there, so we talked to him, and we went to Gatorland. I mean, it was just a funny little thing.
Yeah.
I also think looking back at all these, too, like, I don't necessarily go through these scripts often unless I'm looking for something. Thank God for OneDrive, because you could just search it all on OneDrive, which we started doing during the pandemic 6 years ago.
I know.
So, yeah, I think it's exciting to look back and to see where we started from, where we are, and, of course, just growing with the people that listen to us and support us. A lot of people love the electricity episodes. I said, those are from Twisk. Do you have any fond moments from the 701 episodes we've done together?
I would say when the mega sound effects were
So just like this past year.
Very recently.
Things really picked up recently.
Also, when I became too lazy to create a new 2028 watch, so I just took 2026 watch and put a different number 8 in there. That's fun, too.
I mean, here we are.
Here we are.
And I will also, if we can talk about the train, because it's always a journey, an adventure when you take the train out of South Carolina on Amtrak. Maybe you do. Maybe you've done it before. Give us a shout. Let us know how you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So I did it, and I was like, oh, this will be good because everyone's freaking out over TSA. It's spring break. Honestly, again, my hottest take when it comes to the train, take it if you have time. If you're in a rush and you need to be somewhere on time, or like you don't have much wiggle room when it comes to your scheduling, stick with flying, stick with driving, because while I was pretty much on time on the way up, when I came back, the day started with me getting a text saying, oh, we're an hour and 30 minutes late out of Chicago.
Yeah.
And then they get to D.C. and it's like already 2 hours late. God. Then we get to like north of Petersburg, Virginia.
Virginia's the worst.
Truly, especially when it comes to driving.
It's the worst.
And there's a disabled vehicle on the track. So I guess it's good that we didn't hit the car, because I probably wouldn't have been here by now. I will say, so it's fun. Like, you have space to spread out, sort of sometimes. It is a bit of a crapshoot. You never know who you're going to be stuck to for 11 hours.
Yeah.
You can move around a little bit. And it was fine on the way back. You have a little bit more freedom on the way back, because when you're jumping on at Columbia at 4 a.m. like I did, people have been on there since Florida.
Sure.
Because that's where it goes. And you're creeping on. People are passed out. You're making noise. It's 4 a.m. Everyone's has their tents, because they're trying to shield themselves. I haven't slept, like I said. I'm up. I'm like, I'm going.
Yeah, you're jacked to be on the train.
So you find a spot. You might be sitting next to someone who has a little bit of a smell, like I did, for a couple hours.
Yeah.
Till they got to Rocky Mount. Thank you.
Odor.
And then I got the window seat. Thank God I got to look out the window.
You slid over to his smelly seat?
I will notice. I will note that the smell was not connected to the seat.
Oh, Gavin.
As far as I could tell.
Slid right in the stinky seat.
I wanted to look out the window.
Keep going.
And then I got into town. It was Friday. It was wonderful in D.C. My brother and my sister-in-law were out. Mm-hmm. Met them at the Dubliner. Had some pints, and then we got...
Splitting G's.
Yeah, we did. I didn't split the G. Twice, couldn't do it. I'm not
Pathetic.
He's horrible. But yeah, so I mean, it's fun. I had a great break. I hung out with my mom. I was birding a lot. Brought my binoculars.
Gavin's saying cheap. He's saying choo. Come on, buddy.
Did nothing. It was a beautiful week. Really just hung out, read. I finished a book. And I also, on top of the bird watching, I was doing some plane spotting with my binoculars.
Hell yeah, you were, brother. This guy's getting big into binoculars right now. He's getting heavy into binoculars. He's going to be talking about binocular models soon, guys.
Oh, I'm at a bare minimum right now. I'm already looking to upgrade. Please give us your recommendations, my birders out there. And you see the robins, you see the cardinals. I'm like, can I get some different stuff? Because we had a bird feeder.
Cardinals, it's blah, blah, blah. It is canon on this show because of my wife that they are called red jays. Okay,
I did not know that. No,
are red jays, crows. Black jays.
And some blue jays. I'm like, and I was getting into the drama, okay? So you'd start seeing some of these familiar faces. There were some blackbirds, which I think were like...
You're going to have a roving
Greckles?
gang of crows
I hate a crow. But then the Blue Jays would come in and they would push everybody out.
Bad bird.
And then the blackbird would try and get in because the Blue Jay had left and came back and pushed him out again. I was like, oh, I'm living for this drama. Who needs reality TV?
I watched The Masters.
I know.
We don't need to talk about that here.
But I will say on the plane spotting where my mom lives in Silver Spring, a lot of air traffic. And when you look at the flight map, which you can look up, you can figure out where it's going.
His brain is diseased.
You would see him. I'm like, okay, they're coming out of
It's coming!
They're coming out of Dulles, right? They make a turn at Leesburg, and then they fly over on their way.
Delayed.
And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's Dulles to Brussels. Oh, that's an A340, 4 engines, guys. Look at this one.
To this guy. He takes one frickin' train and he starts plane spotting. This is bad stuff.
Don't worry, guys. I'm back. I'm dedicated to the sprint to sine die in the next 70 days when it comes to the primary and the runoff. And then after that, I get to fly in a big boy plane across the pond.
Good for you.
Oh my God, this wind down's gone for too long.
Let's land this plane. It's good to be back, folks. Thank you for listening to our voices.
Yes.
Have a good week.
Give us a shout, 803-563-7169. We appreciate you guys calling like Amy and Andrew did. I gave you a bunch of fodder right there. Someone's got to take the bait on some of those things. Binoculars, birds, planes. You can always show us your appreciation by leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts. And again, give us a voicemail, 803-563-7169. And a happy 40th birthday to my best friend, Joanna, who I know listens up there in Rochester. And you can stay up to date with the latest news on SCETV.org and SouthCarolinaPublicRadio.org. And don't forget to support your local newspapers. The South Carolina Lede is a production of South Carolina Public Radio. Our producer is A.T. Shire. Amy Crouch is our supervising producer. Sean Birch is our executive producer. This podcast is produced with support from PRX and is made possible in part by a grant from the John S. and James L. Knight Foundation, as well as listener contributions to the ETV Endowment of South Carolina. For the South Carolina Lede, I'm Gavin Jackson. Be well, South Carolina.
Yes, this is episode 701. We can pretend it's 700. We can pretend, folks.
I can't remember any of them, honestly.
Quite frankly, I can't remember any of them.
I don't remember any of them.